Go. All right, Buju, welcome to another episode of Indian Way with Johnny R, the podcast that records live from the southern shore of the mighty Red Lake. And I'm your host, Johnny R, obviously. Tonight we have a special guest. It's very rare for me to get guests now. I don't know what I'm doing or saying, but people aren't able to meet with me. So I am honored to have Cheyanna Sapp from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. That is so much fun to say. How are you, Cheyanna?
I'm good. I'm actually from Little Pine First Nation, but I am based out of Saskatoon.
Little Pine First Nation. Okay. I
Yeah,
I was
that's my home
well, my
res.
thing about I've been doing comedy, it'll be I think 14 years next year. And every time I see an indigenous comedian on social media or somebody mentions them, I immediately follow them. So I'm not a creep. I just want to see what everybody's doing, where they're at, and how they're doing out there. And it's a lot of fun to just visit with fellow comedians. So I'm honored that you're here, and I have been following you for I don't know a couple of years maybe. So because I first heard of you on through Paul Rablowskis, who I met in 20 I think it was 2015. Me, him, and Tatanka Means. We did a show down here in the area. So I've been following him ever since. And then he brought exposed you. Well, not he exposed, but he just shines a light on other comedians in his area. So if you could introduce yourself, how long you been doing comedy, and all that other good stuff.
I haven't been doing comedy for very long, actually. I started in 2019, so that's about a good 4 years of comedy, but I did take I'd say about a year and a half hiatus because of the COVID pandemic, where I was just going to school and I wasn't really focusing on any comedy or going to open mics or shows or anything, especially because I've got small kids at home. I started comedy after seeing Indigenous comedians perform at my university and getting inspired by that representation. So I decided to try it myself. And I'm really happy that I did because it's taken me to a lot of great places. And I feel like I have like a pretty good platform now to be able to discuss like some of the things that I want to discuss with my comedy.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the things about comedy. It takes you to places you never thought possible. I've been fortunate enough myself to be able to travel a country and just meet a lot of nice people. That's the thing about the indigenous community. It's I know you see a lot of the mainstream comedians having personal issues, and like the downward spiral and all the toxic behavior and stuff. But I think I've never witnessed that yet, but I know that it might be out there, but I haven't witnessed it myself. But I'm just honored to be part of all of this. And it seems like anytime I get invited somewhere, I'm surprised. Even going on 14 years, I'm still surprised that people know who I am and they want me to come perform. And your path led you to actually being in a TV show. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say too, I follow and add other Indigenous comics too as I see them. So that's how I met Paul was when I started doing comedy, I Googled Indigenous comedians and I found a bunch on Google and then I went and looked for them on Facebook and social media and started following them. And so I added Paul and before I actually did stand-up comedy, I was doing memes. So I had a meme page on Facebook that got about 20,000 followers before it started to get restricted. And like Facebook really cracked down on like their community guidelines and were removing old memes and restricting pages that had a lot of content that didn't fit in their guidelines. So I did a lot of memeing. I've got a couple of viral ones out there. But then when I started stand-up comedy, that's where all my funny content went, was to my jokes, and kind of stopped making memes. Um, but Paul Rablowskis was a fan of my comedy from the beginning, and as I was a fan of his. I was actually supposed to open for him here in Saskatoon when I first started out, just a small 5-minute spot. And then that's when the COVID pandemic shut everything down. So the show got canceled, and I just focused on my schoolwork. Um, and then I actually was Paul had put my name in the hat for auditions for his TV show that he was making. And I was actually contacted via Facebook by Tina Keeper, one of the producers. And, I was so like starstruck. I'm like, oh my gosh, Tina Keeper is in my Facebook messages. I honestly thought it was a scam or something for a minute. I'm like, this can't be real. And she asked me to audition. She said Paul mentioned my name and asked if I would audition. So I went through an audition, and then they gave me a call back. I did a chemistry read with Paul, and then they offered me the role after that, which I was like super surprised. I was a little bit overwhelmed. But more than anything, like I was so happy because I had just started acting. After I started stand up, I started taking acting classes during university, during the COVID hiatus, so that I could improve my delivery and my performance on stage. And it ended up taking me into, I think it really helped me with my auditions. And I'm doing theater productions now and other stuff, sketches and other TV shows.
Your the way you got into it, that's pretty inspiring that you're able to another comedian reached out to you and he helped you along, and that's what I see a lot of in our native community as comedians. Everybody's reaching out, helping each other, and it's not always like that, but it's very more often than not that's how it is, because that's how I get most of my things, through word of mouth from other comedians. So like I got the Mark Yaffe, he messaged me today, he's got one for me, and my friends in Sioux Falls. They got it's just I'm not really I don't they talk about like electronic press kit. I've been doing this 14 years. I still don't know what the hell that is. I got my YouTube page, I got my Twitter and all that. Just look at my stuff. I don't know I'm too lazy. I just don't want to put in any effort, which probably holds me back a little bit. But yeah. So you guys season 2 premiered, was that the other day?
Yeah, on Monday.
Monday. Okay. So when you get that premiere, so I know there's a strike down here with all the actors, so they're not able to promote anything that they're doing. Is that so you guys are just free to get out there and do interviews and go to premieres and all that too up there, or is it a whole connected somehow, or what? How does
Yeah,
that?
we're still able to do promotions and publicity stuff.
Mm,
I don't think that the strike hasn't affected me personally. I
mm,
don't honestly, I can't say I know much about it either. Um, but I have heard people talking about it like in passing.
yeah. Okay.
Somebody actually even said that it was over, so I didn't even know it was still ongoing. I
Oh yeah.
should
Okay.
probably pay more attention.
I know, me too. That's last I heard, it was still going. I don't know much about it. Unions. That's way over my head, so I don't even know what's going. All I know is there's nothing out there yet. So maybe it's time for me to sneak some productions in there and just take over the world or something. I don't know. So what's your TV experience now? Is
Yeah.
there like any more offers coming your way? Or are you gonna start writing your own material? And how what do you have planned?
Well, I would like to start now that I'm going to be completely solo artist. I would like to start my own projects. I have projects that aren't really comedy related. I'm actually working on a documentary myself about my about a relative of mine who was a famous painter out here in Saskatchewan, and he was world renowned, and he really blew up in the 70s. He was my paternal grandpa's brother. Basically, I called him grandpa as well because, Indigenous relations and
Yeah.
Indigenous kinship and family systems, that's how we operate. So I consider him my grandpa. He had a pretty like a big career. He made a huge impact on the Indigenous art world as a painter. And so I want to do a documentary on his life that is including the voices of his living relatives, because I've done research on him for papers in university about how his art is a form of resistance and decolonization, an act of decolonization. And I would like to highlight his life, but in a way that brings in the voices of his living relatives and the people who knew him, because those are largely missing from all of the research I had done. So I've got like my dad and all his siblings who are willing to come and do interviews with me for that. So that's my like priority right now. I'm also
Mhm.
writing new comedy for, I have a problem with clean comedy, quote unquote. I I have a hard time writing comedy that's, TV friendly. You know what I mean? So I'm
Exactly know
working
what you
on
mean.
more yeah, I'm working on more material that is TV friendly just because I think it'll bring more opportunities, like I'll be able to perform in festivals and televised events and stuff like that. So that's another thing I'm working on, is writing more safe for work comedy. I would like to work on going on another mini tour out west, because I had gone on tour this summer and I was supposed to go out west, but there was a lot of wildfires and other stuff that happened, so I ended up canceling. And a lot of people were looking forward to a show in Vancouver, so I think I'd like to do a little mini tour and go out to Alberta and BC. Also a part of an Indigenous comedy collective here in Saskatoon with Indigenous Saskatoon-based comics. Last year, they went on tour as the Skoda and Studis comedy tour. They went around, they went to Toronto, a few places around Saskatchewan, and I think eventually they went to LA. And we're going to do it again. I wasn't able to go last time, but I'm going to be going this time in January. So that's going to be fun. I've never been to California. What else do I have planned? Oh, I'm also working on trying to get a sketch comedy TV show, which is one of my like biggest visions, but it's something that I'm like a baby at, right? Like I still consider myself a baby at comedy and acting because it's only been 4 years for me, And before that, I was all like service industry jobs and, retail, customer service, and a lot of university, a lot of post-secondary education. Um, I never ever saw myself on a stage or doing any kind of public speaking, just because I had like, anxiety and stage fright, I guess they call it. So I had to overcome a lot of barriers in that regard to be able to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I
There are
do really,
times
really
where
want.
every time I go on stage, I don't want to do it. But once you get up there, you're like, "Yeah, I don't know why. Because the worst part about comedy for me is the build up. When you have a show booked and you think about what are you gonna say, what are you gonna use? Do you have to My biggest fear is family event shows, and I try my hardest to be a family. Well, even though I got a family, but I'm still I'm from the res, I'm rugged as hell, and I swear a lot and I say a lot of things I shouldn't in public. Yeah, yeah, it's part of who we are. It's just one of those things. But yeah, I understand the being uncomfortable and trying to be comfortable being uncomfortable on stage, and I still can't believe I get to do this at times, but there are just other times where I want to do it all the time. But I remember the time we did go on the road. I hated it. I hated being away from home. I don't travel well. If I'm within 4 or 5 hours of home, I'm coming home because I can't stay. Last time I stayed 4 or 5 hours away, I didn't go to sleep till about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I figured, if I would have went home when I was done, I would have fell asleep at home. And I'm a reser. My mom calls me a reser because I don't get out that much, and I can't I can't function outside the res. So, but yeah, I'm excited for what you guys are doing up in Canada. I'm excited for Paul up there. I still I don't know how to get access to season one, because every time you told me that it was on Crave, and I tried to log into that, but they said it's not available in my country. So I don't know any other ways to get it. So I'm way behind because I remember there was a show called Blackstone. You remember Blackstone? When that first came out, I was dying to watch it because it was like The Sopranos, but like on a res, and I was so excited to see it. And I wasn't able to see it till about, 5, 6 years later because of the whole it being in Canada and not available over here. So hopefully it doesn't take that long unless you guys have DVDs you can mail me or VHS, whatever you guys have, and bootleg copies. I'll take it, man, because I'm excited to see it.
That's unfortunate. A lot of people from the US have been asking me, how can we watch this? Like, how can we access this? Maybe, I don't know if APTN, it's streaming on APTN Lumi, but again, I don't know if it'll, show up in your area's streaming or if you guys even have access to APTN. Like, it's so silly. I don't know if there's DVDs available or anything either yet, but we are the number one TV show on CTV Comedy Channel right now in the demographic of, I think it was 25 to 50 age
Mm.
group, somewhere around there. Yeah, and I know what you mean. I totally understand about the whole res life thing. Like I too, I was born and raised, not born. I was raised in the res, but it feels like I was born and raised there. And I was a total res girl. Like I stayed home and I swam in ditches. I played in the bush. I grew up around, thankfully, surrounded by my culture as well. So I had a lot of access to ceremonies and things of that nature. So the traveling part for me is not too bad. The only thing is I miss my kids, because I've got a bunch of kids here running around. And my youngest is 5, so to me she's still just a baby, right?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I got 12 total, but three of them are adults. So I got eight little ones and my 17-year-old son at home right now. So we are pretty busy all the time and hard to get away. But it's my wife. She lets she understands that I'm trying to do something with my life because I've just been goof off since I was a kid. So it's was one of the things my mom told me. I told her I saw my picture on a billboard. Told my mom, see, look, all that goofing off is paying off. And she said, well, it's about time, but being too honest with me. So your story in comedy was an interesting one. I know you did uh a show with Paul that year, and then you guys you went on the road and what's the road life been like for you?
It's tough being away from the kids. That's probably the main thing, is feeling helpless when they have like an issue at home that I can't be here to deal with, right? Um, like one of my kids gets sick and I'm way off in wherever doing, whatever I have to do.
Yeah.
Uh, for the most part, it's been good though. I've met a lot of really good people and I've been able to network and meet in like a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of amazing family, not family, a lot of amazing hosts as well. So all the different communities that I've been to, everybody was welcoming and there's a really good sense of community because as indigenous people we've all got that. We're all looking for connections. It's like, what tribe are you from, or if you're from the same tribe, it's like, what family are you from?
Hmm.
um, and it's one of the things too that one of the reasons why I never really looked at myself as being a comedian or making a living off of being a comedian, because I always knew I was funny, right? But to me, everybody in my community and everybody in my family, they were all funny too. So I thought it was just normal. I thought I'm just normal like everybody else. And I really am. Like to me, I think all indigenous people in some way or another are comedians. We have the indigenous humor is a really, really strong aspect, a really strong part of our culture. And it's something that I think has gotten us through a lot of hard times, right? If we can't, you got to laugh to keep from crying type of
Hmm.
thing. And so I had people in my community that I think are way funnier than me. And I grew up like with my parents telling jokes all the time and everybody teasing each other. If they didn't tease you, then they probably didn't like you or you guys weren't that close, right? That's one
Yeah.
of the biggest things too, is we go to a family dinner or a family event and it's just everybody going back and forth, roasting each other. And if you're not quick and you can't come up with a comeback, then, better luck next year.
Yeah, that's exactly the roast sessions. There are times where if I'm just sitting around with a group of friends or people I'm really comfortable with, we could just go on and on and on, and that's like the best part of being I suppose indigenous. All laughing at from keeping from crying. I like that. That's a well put. I like the way that sounds. But yeah, other times where on the road, we meet a lot of good people, and it's just another positive about being able to travel. Just I can't believe I just get to travel and talk shit, and that's pretty much the dream, because I got hired at our radio station here in Red Lake, and I still can't believe I get to do that, and it's so much fun. And but there are things that I want to do. Like I've been doing this whole podcast thing for about I think 6 or 7 years that it hasn't really caught on, but I'm just learning more every day. So do you have any plans for reaching out at other forms of media?
I mostly want to stay I'm in currently I'm doing stand-up comedy, live theater, and the just getting into the TV and film industries. I'll probably stay around these main industries just because I believe, as Indigenous people, we are underrepresented in these types of industries, right?
Mhm.
Um, and the representations that are out there about us are usually invented by non-indigenous people. So I think it's important for us as indigenous peoples, especially like creators and influencers and people like you and I, comedians, to take up these spaces and to be connected in a community, to form a community and stick together.
Yeah, yeah, that's important. I know a lot of us sometimes we run across people where just the creative differences and other people, social media, everything's gonna be on social media. Other people are gonna chime in, and it gets really nasty out there. And sometimes I get so I'm like, no, don't we're barely represented as it is. Let's play nice. I've seen that over the summer, and it just I feel so bad that we all can't just stay together and build each other up, and that's the tough thing that I see it.
Yeah, I think we're really all out here with, lingering effects of in intergenerational trauma, being unable to communicate with each other effectively, being unable to communicate our feelings to each other. There has been a lot of drama in Indigenous comedy, especially since I started. So I don't know, maybe I'm a drama magnet. I've had a couple of arguments online with some comedians. I won't say their names, but um, it's been a little bit of a tough go. And it really is unfortunate that we can't just work these things out because, like I said, that sense of community is so important. We have uh, an obligation as, aunties and uncles to ensure that the next generations, like we have to pave the way for them. And if they're seeing us, fight and behave like this, then that's not really productive.
Yeah,
I have a lot of, yeah, I have a lot of, no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I have seen that a lot, and though I haven't really, there are things where people come at me saying stuff about the way I work things, and I just let them talk, and I haven't really been involved in anything that serious yet. But the main thing is that community. We got to keep that community together, and we're leaders right now because not this whole indigenous comedy thing is like maybe 40, 50 years old, and it's still kind of new. And with the new mediums coming up like Reservation Dogs and Rutherford Falls down here, and then Acting Good up there for you guys, it's something that we need to stay positive with it, and so they can hire us more, I suppose. That's just the way I
Mhm.
see it. So
Yeah, there's a level of professionalism, I
there
think,
it is. Yep.
that's
Yep.
really needed. It's really badly needed. As a Resi people and Indigenous people, we tend to deal with people the same way that we deal with people in the res. Like, so how I explained earlier about Indigenous comedy and teasing each other, people outside of our communities might not understand that. So if I go out and, tease the heck out of somebody that's not Indigenous, they're going to see it as, me being hostile,
Mhm.
when really I'm just trying to show affection and I'm expecting to get roasted back.
Yeah.
So when we go off community or when we go into other, areas, we've got to, flip the switch and kind of turn on our white voice, or make sure that everybody is aware of the way that our the way that we operate.
Mhm.
And I don't
Yeah.
believe that just because that we're a teasing kind of community, that it's open season and we can say whatever we want to anybody. I do believe that there are boundaries. People are allowed to have boundaries and express those boundaries.
Yeah. That's one of the main things, because that's the like that makes me think of the mascot issue down here, because you see a lot of the non-natives not really understanding the culture, or they go too far and they don't realize it because they don't understand that some things are sacred to our people, and it's just really difficult to try and educate them because they think they don't understand what our ancestors went through, and to see them mock it like that, down here we have the Kansas City Chiefs. They still do the tomahawk chop, even though we got rid of the Redskins. Thankful for that. And I know the Atlanta Braves still do the tomahawk chop, and it just, oh, we're honoring you. Just we're just honoring your people, and we don't see it that way.
Yeah, honor us by giving us some land back.
Yeah, it would be
we
good. It
didn't
would be
ask
good if you give us some land back. Good
Yeah, we
trade.
didn't ask for sports teams. We didn't ask to be a mascot. We wanted some land back.
Yeah,
And a little, maybe turn down the oppression a little bit.
yeah, that'd be very helpful. But I've been trying to get up to Canada for since I started this, and I'm scared to cross the border because I don't have any a criminal record or anything. I just don't want to. I've heard stories about crossing the border, and uh, I'm a big coward. So if you,
I actually, I really want to go into the States more and try some comedy. Like I see some great comedians coming out of the US. Like you mentioned before, Tatanka Means. I've watched a couple of his stand-ups. I didn't get to watch like full versions of it, but I've
Mhm.
seen like clips here and there. There's a lot of people that I would like love to work with. Like I said, I really, really think us as Indigenous comedians, especially with the border between us, we all need to create like a community. Maybe there should be like a Indigenous Comedians Association or something, right?
I was thinking, like what did I say? You know how they have all the conferences and like just bring all the indigenous comedians into one area and workshop and just teach the younger ones what to expect and how to go about things, and just all the older ones to share their experiences and just network and build some relationships and just settle all the differences if that's what it is, and just kind of like a almost like a gathering of nations. I hate using that, gathering of nations, but like bring all comedians in, maybe have a couple learning sessions, a 49, of course, that'd be awesome. And, just hang out with each other and visit, and that's to learn from each other. And
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We all need to like lift each other up. There's room for everybody. That's
yeah.
what I believe, especially since we are so underrepresented in the industry, right? And
Mhm.
now there's this huge surge of Indigenous comics and new Indigenous comedians and young Indigenous comedians, and everybody is we're all realizing our potential, right? And so I totally agree with you on that conference thing. That is a great idea. I would
Yeah.
love to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, I think even like I know there's a big casino down in Minneapolis called Mystic Lake Casino, and hopefully I've been trying to get that going for I don't know how long, just trying to get everybody all together and agree on a time and a date, and we'll just go from there and invite everybody. And I don't know how we'll get everybody there, but we'll think of something. We got a lot of rich tribes around here that can maybe sponsor us. So maybe the next couple of years before I get too old. And but yeah,
Well, stay in
hopefully,
touch with me about that. I would love to be a part of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's the plan. Because I know I'm not getting old, but I'm getting up there, and I can't really get out like I used to. Not that physically or anything, but I get like responsibilities at home. I can't really get up and get out anymore. So hopefully, share what little knowledge I've acquired over these 14 years of comedy. But I've been doing like video production and stuff since 2006. So I have a lot of experience in this, so hopefully I can share all that with all the young warriors. So hopefully that comes about, and we will keep our Canadian brothers and sisters in mind and put something together. Put all of our egos aside. I know we all got egos because we're all the best comedian of us all, because that's just how, like, powwows are competitive. It's like a competition with comedians. But I'm gonna start trouble here trying to. I did that. Named off my top five indigenous comedians, and I should never did that. That was a terrible. I should have never shared that. Got a lot of people, not a lot of people,
What
but
what happened?
I don't know. Just people didn't agree with my top five. I thought my top five was solid. I put Larry Omaha at number one. So the legend. He's like one of the trailblazers for us. And Mark Jaffe, number two. I love his work ethic. He's on the road. He's on the road all the time. And I forgot who was number three. It might have been Von Eaglebear. And yeah, it was started a whole
Oh,
controversial thing. And I put myself
no.
in the top 10 just because it's my list. So I'm number 10 of all time. This is my list. So why not vote for myself?
Yeah, for sure. So where did you post that? Was that just like a Facebook post or something?
I think it was a Facebook post. I did put it up. Or no, I was talking with what was her name? Some kind of she's a lady who runs a film thing in California. I forgot what it was, but yeah, I think I put it on Facebook, and I forgot who else was on there. I think I combined 49 laughs into one because I couldn't pick just one of them because they're all my favorites. I love working with them, Adrian and Tatonka and all those guys. But yeah, I'll find that status again and post it and get in trouble and get everybody mad again. So I'm very good at that. So Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, is that like a big city, or like Winnipeg or Minneapolis, or what is that like?
It's not as big. It's probably about, I'm just gonna guess it's about a quarter of the size of Winnipeg. It's pretty small, but it's a beautiful city. I love it here. It's close to my family, my relatives, my reserve. My kids are all happy here and established, and they've got friends and stuff. I had considered moving closer to Winnipeg just because it's going to be like Indigenous TV and film is blowing up, and
Yeah.
it's been said that Winnipeg is going to be like a hub in
Mhm.
Canada for that. So I'm really, really excited for what's in store for Indigenous entertainment,
Okay.
both comedy and TV and film.
Yeah. Is that where you guys filmed Acting Good, or where's that at?
It was filmed in Winnipeg,
Okay.
and the scenes from the res were filmed up north, like an hour north of Winnipeg on Broken Head, Ojibwe First Nation. So shout out to
Okay.
Broken Head.
Broken Head. Okay. Yeah, I'm still trying. I'm thinking about going up to Canada once a week just to watch Acting Good. So you might find me up there caught at the border. But
I
you know
think you're
the thing
pretty close
about
to the border, aren't you?
huh? What
Aren't you
was it?
close to the border?
Yeah, I'm about 100 miles, maybe 150 miles. I just might sneak over one of these days. But the thing about Acting Good, I remember seeing the like the previews and trailer of that, and that it seems like that's exactly how we talk down here too, because the big thing was doing that. "Mwah." That one guy's like, What is that? Because that I catch myself saying that all the time. It's like "Mwah," like that. It's that's so I'm hoping that does what Skoden on Reservation Dogs. I'm hoping Acting Good does that for "Mwah," like that. So hopefully that's my dream. That's my wish because
Yeah,
catch myself
it's
saying that
like a
too much.
universe. Yeah, for real. It's a universal expression among us Indigenous
Yeah.
peoples here on Turtle Island. It's
Yeah.
how we understand each other. If we
Yeah.
can't speak each other's language, at least we know,
Yeah.
mwah.
Yeah. Mwah. There's a time where it's like the Ojibwe people, it was a verbal language. We didn't really write anything down. And that's what our expressions are like, because I've never seen that written down anywhere until I think recently people are starting to write it on Facebook, like "Mwah," like that. It really weird spellings of it, and I didn't realize that that's if you sound it out that way, that's exactly how it sounds, and so that was pretty cool. Mwah. So
Yeah, it's I've seen a lot of memes and stuff too. And at first I didn't really understand it either, but you do have to sound it out. And then there's
yeah,
also like it's not just a sound, it's an act. You
yeah,
have to do your facial expression and everything and the context has to make sense.
yeah, right place for it. All right.
Hmm.
So, is there anything you want to share, like your website, your Facebook, or anything you got coming up?
I'm on all socials. So I'm on Facebook. I actually have a secret separate profile from my main
Mm,
profile.
smart.
It's it's so my main profile is where I have, a lot of my family, friends, relatives, a lot of professionals that I met along the way, like professors from my university, high school teachers. And like I've said before, my comedy is a lot of mature adult content and stuff
Mhm.
that I don't really want them to have to see all the time. So I have a separate account under the name Ann T. That's spelled ANNETEA. And and so it's a good little play on words. So I accept followers on either profile, either my main Cheyanna Sapp profile or my auntie profile or both. I don't care. One of them is going to have a lot more memes and adult content and a lot more funny stuff. I am on TikTok as Auntie Shy Pie. I'm on Twitter. No, I'm not on Twitter. Actually, my Twitter got hacked and all my followers got erased. And I'm still in the process of trying to get that back. So don't look for my Twitter.
Okay.
I'm on Instagram as Shy Sap as well. So I'm on all socials and
Okay.
I'm open to like anything comedy. I'm doing this full time now, which is a little bit
Oh,
scary, but so far it's been working and I think that I've got a lot of good things in my future for Indigenous comedy and Indigenous entertainment.
okay. Good. Yeah, you have a bright future ahead of you. I'm excited for everything that Acting Good will bring you. I gotta see it, man. If so, if you're ever gonna get your hands on a DVD, set of DVDs, just send them my way so I know, because that's like one of the big things that I just hate that I can't watch it. And again, I'm really seriously considering going across the border just to see what I could come up with. But yeah.
Maybe wait until it's all finished airing and then the whole thing goes on Crave and then just go get a room across the border, binge watch it. One
Brilliant.
day.
Brilliant. All right, Cheyanna Sapp, I appreciate you coming on. It was an honor to meet you, and I like your comedy. So we'll just stay in touch, and hopefully, I can be a part of your tour, or you can come down this way, and we'll set up some shows, and we'll just do our thing and have some fun. So thanks again.
I would absolutely love to work with you in the future. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody and expanding. I really want to be a part of this Indigenous comedy community
Mhm.
and to be somebody who the younger generations can maybe possibly look
Yeah.
to in the future for their own guidance as well.
All right. Thanks again. This is Indian Way with Johnny R, the podcast that records live from the southern shore of the mighty Red Lake. All right. Thank you very much.